What makes a smart home smart? Well, I guess you're going to have to ask the experts. Welcome to the Cinegration Station with your conductors Ryan and AJ. Today they sat down and discussed what it takes to make a home smart. Well, at least some of what it takes. So tune in now and learn more about the smart home here on the Cinegration Station.
Welcome to the Cinegration Station. This is your conductor, Ryan.
And this is AJ.
And we're here to talk about smart homes today.
Yeah, we thought we would break it up and do something a little bit different and kind of talk about some of the shop talk that we do around here. And specifically, it got brought up is what is a smart home? And
that is the big question. We, at this point, I don't even know what a real smart home is, but I think we have a lot of ways to define what a smart home can be for our clients and for others.
Yeah, we initially Cinegration's stance was a smart home is a home that reacts to certain events, and a connected home is a home that can be controlled by things. So you can from Alexa or from some other system, you can turn on a light, turn off a light. That's a connected home. But a smart home is something that can enhance your life or do an automation in the house that you can't. That's what I actually find my house. The smart home is so vital. I mean, it takes care of. We have a reptile, a little bearded dragon, and I have a control for. It's called a Z2C sensor in there, and that's what tracks the temperature. And then I have a control for outlet switch that turns on his heater and his light.
So your bearded dragon has a smart home.
Correct. Yeah. In a way,
it's smart for the bearded dragon and for you too. And I know we wanted to talk about this too because we do a ton of design work. We do really amazing projects, and we were going through a project and. You're like, hey, this smart home is kind of bland.
Yeah, I was a little cheeky on it.
Yeah.
He wasn't to jab.
Oh no. I mean, it's always good for us to evaluate what we're doing because we think it's smart, but you could really go down a whole other parallel of how intelligent is it. Sure, it's smart and it'll be smart, but like, what can we do to it to really optimize this smartness?
And why do you even need it to be smart? We're doing a project out of states here in a couple of weeks, and I kept going through the list of parts. How should I do the lighting? Should we do the thermostats? Should we do those? And I kept going back to yes. I think the customer is, as she gets older, is going to want to have that independence of not having to walk up to the light switch or go down the stairs to turn off the lights or any of those kind of like aspects.
And something I wanted to bring up when you mentioned that is, what is the downside of a smart home? And I don't really think there's too much downside unless there's a complete system failure. But even if there's a system failure, you just go up to the device and manually do it, just like how you would have done otherwise. So, and we talk about hesitation with people going, diving headfirst into the fully automated home. Because you're in for an experience. It's not always going to be so straightforward, but when it's dialed in, it's a great system.
Yeah, I feel like there's a level of training. We use the car analogy all the time here at the office, and you have to get a driver's license to use a car. And cars are amazing. They're really great. I love driving fast. I love going in. Yesterday or a couple days ago, we actually had a Cinegration event where we actually showcased a really cool all-electric car. And it was, but again, like back to what we were saying is you need a driver's license. You need to know what all those blinking lights are. You need to know what those mean. You need to know where to put gas in it. You need to know if the tire breaks, what to do. And I think there's a lot of hesitation because smart homes, a lot of dealers, they just sort of, all right, here's the keys to the kingdom. Good luck.
Go. Take it away. You're good to go. You're so right. There is such a deep level of education that a homeowner needs to invest in so they feel confident in the systems. Otherwise, it's just, it's like staring at a Ferrari in your garage and you're like, I haven't. How do I back it up?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh well, let's talk about this a little bit more.
Making them inviting. There's so much tech sometimes in what we do that I, especially as a techie person, I feel like I maybe give too much options to the consumer. I look at a smart home as, a properly built smart home should be a cockpit for your house. I should be able to turn off the TVs. I should be able to reboot, anything like that. If I have something that's in a precarious place in my house, I should be able to, move it or turn it off or reset it. I need to be able to adjust the furnace. I need to be able to adjust the heating, the cooling. I kind of need to adjust the elements of the house.
Sure. All the environmental aspects of the home. And to riff off a few, and I'd like to just do that really quick. When we talk about smart homes, we talk about the audiovisual interface of the house. We talk about the security system. We talk about cameras, HVAC, lighting control. Networking, big one.
Mm-hmm.
Great Wi-Fi, optimized Wi-Fi. And then we talk about other peripheral things like motorized shades, following the time of day. So we go through the list, and then we figure out how do we make those items smart for this particular homeowner, because again, it's more customized for how much do you want to put in for that type of person. Maybe they want to be a lot more hands off.
Yeah, and a lot of this has actually come up recently with us. Is we've done a lot of jobs up in the mountains, and a lot of those homes that were vacation homes in the teens and the 20s, the 20-teen era are now becoming Airbnbs. And there's a fundamental difference. Do you let your friend adjust all the controls of your Tesla? No, you just let them get in. They can drive it to and from and come back. But you want all the controls. So we're running into this weird catch-22 issue at up in Breck, where the customers are just sort of turning over the system, and it's this whole massive smart home that can do everything. And then the renters are coming in and they're just being renters.
It's like it's too smart for them, and it's because that the investment was made by the original homeowner, tailored to the original homeowner, and it's just not so easy to just shift it to a turnkey rental where it's simple for any guest that comes in. That's a great point. It's been challenging to make sure that we could do that effectively, because it's kind of a future thing. I mean, technology's just gotten better now too, so there's elements of what we would have done 5 to 10 years ago that might not seem as practical now because of what technology has come to.
Oh yeah, I mean the concepts of what we're doing are kind of the same, right? We're still turning lights on, we're still turning lights off, locking doors, unlocking doors, arming security systems, moving shades, things like that. But when you're a renter, it's more simple, just a single button to turn everything off. And you would think, why wouldn't a homeowner want that? Well, a homeowner, now that they've owned the home a bunch, they've realized, oh, what I really wanted was I wanted an off, but I wanted to delay the off until I leave the garage. And so the homeowner knows that, and it's great for them. They love it. They hit away, they walk into the garage, they get in the car, maybe takes them 5 minutes to get into the car and warm it up, and then they leave. As soon as the garage door shuts, the alarm system arms.
Beautiful.
If you're a renter, you have no idea that
you're like, nothing works.
Exactly.
Pressing the button. It's like, well, there's actually a level of grace associated with this, where press the button, leave, and it'll do its thing behind you, where they're just looking for the immediate, why is it not working? And then the phone call comes in.
So, so if you could design a smart home. So I'm doing this house in another state, and the house was built in '05. And it has no smarts in it whatsoever. I mean, it has a Bose audio system that we're taking out, but it's we're going to switch it to Sonos because it's remote. So I need it to have as few problems as possible. And Sonos, for lack of a better word, currently they have one of the best user experiences when it comes to music. They hit all the right buttons. It's just a really good product, and they really listen to their customer base, and so. Now she wants to make it smart, where we're trying to put Josh in it. The house will have Josh in it, but now she also wants door locks, and she wants these gates. And Josh doesn't have a UX for gates and door locks in a way that is comparable.
We'll see if Josh is listening. They can help us out with that.
So I think so, and we're stuck in a weird limbo here where we're always trying to give the customer the absolute best of what's out today, and there's when you talk about smart homes, in 3 years they're like, oh, all the parts are obsolete. Well, they're not actually obsolete. The technology of what it's controlling is the same. I think what needs to happen for smart homes and people is there needs to be more training. I think there needs to be more of an understanding of what's possible. I think that's what we were talking about, where I was like, I actually said, I feel like some of our bids are a little bland, and it's not that they're bland. It's I think we need to do a better job of explicitly calling out the smart home ideas,
the automation functions that are really adding the true value to the project.
Yeah, like my car, right? You have like automatic rain sensing windshields, right? So you have this sensor that's in your car that when it detects water on your windshield, it kicks the windshield wipers on and off, right? They make it a point when you buy a car to say it has that. And for a lot of smart homes, customers get these like weird nuggets of cool, but you don't know about them.
It's almost like we, as custom integrators, need to be the instructors for that, because none of those things I think somebody would directly ask for, but they would say, absolutely, I want it. If it's 11 p.m., someone rings the doorbell, turn the lights on. But that only comes up with a prime example when the integrator's like, I think this would really add value to your home, especially if you have a lot of visitors or you're in a high traffic area. That's a great example. Yep.
So what are, in your opinion, what are the components and the systems, security, HVAC, those that you would think are mandatory to have a smart home? Like if you were going to build a house anywhere in the world, what are the things you would absolutely have to have and why?
Lighting control, no doubt. If you're going to have a house and you have more than like 12 light switches in your house, lighting control is a must-have. HVAC control is critical. Network is critical. I'm impartial with audiovisual, actually.
I am too.
It depends on how you use audiovisual systems. I don't know if you need to heavily automate those, but lighting, security, Wi-Fi, and even shades. Those would be things that add the environmental aspects where you just want things to happen the right way around you. Usually if you want a TV to come on, you want to be very mindful of, I'd like to watch TV. But the other things should just happen based on the weather, based on time of day, based on where you are in the house. And those are great because they could tie into AV, because I could turn the whole house down if I wanted with audiovisual turning off. But those are the critical components: lighting control, HVAC, network and Wi-Fi, shading control. Cameras would be nice. But I'll leave that as a gray area because I don't know if I need my lights to turn on if a squirrel goes by or something. But those are, I think, some core items that will always add value to really any home.
So that's, I would agree. Yeah,
Thank you.
Locks. If the home is going to be more than a half an hour away from significant municipalities, like a store or something like that, or it's a really long, I mean, if it's 2 hours to drive to a location, I think that home would do best if there was more automation's the wrong word, but control is really what I'm getting at. It's kind of come back to that cockpit thing. You have all the capabilities.
You could choose what capabilities you want to completely automate or what things you always want to have at your fingertip at the ready.
And anything that I guess during the design of the home, I made it a point to install. If I was going to have a fountain, a feature, a big chandelier, some kind of crazy artwork piece on the wall, something like that, I would definitely make sure that everything around that was controlled. I would also put cameras, a lot more cameras in.
More cameras.
The more remote, the more cameras. It's just when something happens, when something will inevitably happen at your house. You will lose power. You will have a flood. Something will hit your roof. You'll have a moose, that will show up, or a bear will knock down the window, and you're not going to necessarily get as many of those kinds of weird anomalies in a city home. You're just not, right. You're next to a bunch of neighbors. It's just probably not going to happen. But like remote locations, I mean, it's all over the map.
Yeah, it's like one thing if you're like, well, I've got a camera on the driveway, but there might be somebody going in the back of your house or something. So I think, more camera views or more sophisticated views like the 360 cameras. It's like, don't worry about the positioning. You'll get the entire, point of view from that spot.
It's interesting to say a 360. I was thinking about the house actually we're doing out of state, putting a 360 in the mechanical room. Because then I have a full view of the entire HVAC. I have a full view of all of it. I can physically see everything that's in there.
You could see the rack. If the homeowner, if they're remote and they need to troubleshoot it, they could go in there and be like, AJ, can you remote in and make sure I'm in the right area?
Right.
So that's a great point, especially if you have the homeowner that is willing to be like, yes, we're happy to have you support us on that.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of it comes down to is who's going to manage the house. If it's your primary residence, you are going to manage it. Chances are you're going to manage it. If you have multiple homes, or that home is, an Airbnb, you're probably not going to be managing it yourself. You're probably going to have some other company.
Or a property manager who also then needs to know how to use those systems because they might have 200 houses they manage and they're all like different.
Right. And that's actually a big, that's actually what is kind of coming up for us is specifically that conversation.
I was kind of hinting on it with that comment, but yeah, I know.
So it's interesting. We want to make the systems as best for the users that are using it. And that includes, being able to change the Wi-Fi remotely, being able to reboot things. There's an opportunity with smart homes. I think a lot of people shy away from the whole, I don't want to touch a smart home and it's too complicated. It's complicated because it's new and because you just haven't seen it before.
It's new and it always gets better, but I think people also look back at the past and see, I had such a frustrating experience over this one project, and there could have been many factors involved. The dealer that did it, the technology that supported it, maybe it was a bad processor that broke, but it's getting better. And I think we stick with the trends of reliable technology when it comes to building out our smart homes. Yeah,
I would say that the products that we call them the IoT products, and even Flow by Moen is a great example of this. That was a kind of a revolutionary product.
The water control valve
that controlled water, and it was really, really cool. And it has definitely changed the way that I read the reports and how I interact with the water at my house. Has it been life-altering? I don't know. Has it? And now I've had it for 5 years now, and the valve is like getting stuck because I have hard water at my house, and this is something that I didn't know, and so now I actually have to replace my valve.
Okay.
So,
well, in that time, there could have been a bad leak that you would have known about. So I guess it's kind of one of these, one of those. Nothing bad happened, maybe because of the flow.
Oh no, I did actually have 2 leaks that stopped. So I was.
There you go.
It actually did pay for itself. It was a broken irrigation. Our lines froze, and the next morning the irrigation thing popped, and the flow realized it was a spike of water and shut the water off. And
that's why we have smart homes.
And that's literally why. And it's we're here to help. We're here to
help.
make them as best as possible.
Well, we are getting short on time, and do you want to leave us with any little tidbit of your smart home knowledge?
I would, if I was building a house, even if I were to want to do it myself and do my own, I would still pay a company like a dealership at least to engineer and design a system. I might honestly end up doing it my own way, but you want to. We're in the trenches. We see this stuff every day, and and it's I guess that's what I would say.
I get that. I'll piggyback and say more recently had a meeting with a client who decided to DIY their house. I had the wife call me and say, I need a professional in here, otherwise we're going to get a divorce. I said, we will be happy to be your technology advisor because this stuff becomes so integrated in their lifestyle. It was affecting their relationship. And I said, let a vendor take care of it. We'll be responsible and make sure it works flawlessly. Well, with that being said, technology will save marriages if you implement it correctly. And this has been the Cinegration Station. Your conductor, Ryan.
And AJ.
We'll see you next time.
All right, see ya.
Another valuable lesson on smart homes. You've been listening to the Cinegration Station with your conductors Ryan and AJ. You can find the podcast on every major podcast platform: Anchor, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Spotify, and YouTube. Go like, subscribe, leave a comment or a question. And until next time, stay smart.